When Ann B. Davis skipped a routine hair trim on May 31st, 2014, the aftermath shocked everyone. Most people recognized her as Alice, the glue holding that iconic Brady household together. Yet, her private world was full of surprises, and early stardom didn't provide the fulfillment she craved. What drove her to quit show business while she was on top, and where did life take her once the spotlights dimmed? Here is the hidden chapter of her life, beginning with the spark of genius she displayed as a girl. Being one of 4 siblings, including a twin, she worked hard to carve out her own unique identity. Those early domestic bonds heavily influenced her journey, leaving a mark that lasted until her final days. Interestingly, she originally aimed for a medical career, enrolling in college with dreams of becoming a physician. Her trajectory shifted completely after witnessing her big brother dance in a touring production of Oklahoma. That single performance inspired her to ditch the white coat and chase a future under the bright lights. Stardom didn't happen instantly despite her obvious skills. Following her 1948 graduation, 6 years passed before her career truly ignited. A scout spotted her during a free coffee house gig at 28. That encounter landed her the iconic role of Schultzie on The Bob Cummings Show. That minor part exploded into a career-defining gig. Her blend of heart and humor charmed everyone, netting her 4 Emmy nods and 2 big wins. It was obvious Ann B. Davis had real staying power, not just talent. Even after The Bob Cummings Show ended, she refused to fade away. She kept busy with TV, cameos, ads, and theater tours during the late 50s and early 60s. But eventually, her screen time started to dwindle. Aside from a few Ford commercials, the major roles just weren't coming in. Instead, she took her act on the road as a traveling stand-up. Her career seemed to be stalling out until a surprise opportunity arrived. A little pilot called The Brady Bunch almost moved forward without her. Originally, Joyce Bulifant was the lead mum and Monty Margits played Alice. But everything shifted once Florence Henderson joined the production. The producers suddenly needed a comedic heavy hitter to balance the cast, making Ann B. Davis their prime target. Only one major catch existed. Davis was already tied up with comedy dates in Seattle, and her contract created a mess. For a minute, it looked like she'd pass. Convinced she was the one, they actually paid to release her from that other deal just to sign her. She was a true professional who crafted every persona from the ground up, never taking a single line for granted. A close family friend noted that the show's creator didn't actually invent Alice, that was all Ann's doing. The charm and wit that defined the character were simply reflections of the actress's own personality. Secretly, she penned an unwritten history for her character to ensure her performance felt grounded and authentic. For her, understanding the woman behind the apron was essential before the cameras ever started filming. She invented a tale where Alice cleaned houses to pay for her twins' medical tuition, mirroring her own roots. This internal motivation, as she explained in 2004, gave her role a sense of genuine grit. Paradoxically, the woman who seemed like the ultimate mother figure confessed she was actually quite awkward around kids. Living a solitary life without a spouse or children, she often felt like an outsider to the family dynamics she portrayed. Her inner circle suggested that a disastrous, secret affair with a married man early on left her deeply guarded. That unspoken pain likely colored her perspective on romance and provided the emotional weight she brought to her craft. Finding a husband always took a back seat to her professional ambitions during the prime of her life. She jokingly told the press that by the time she looked for love, the best bachelors were already gone. That comment revealed her graceful realization that her journey wouldn't follow the traditional family script. Interestingly, the character we all know so well was referred to only by her first name for quite a while. A simple scene involving a piece of mail forced the writing team to finally give her a surname. Thus, Alice Nelson was born by chance, but Ann remained very protective of how the character represented women. She appreciated that Alice existed as an independent person with her own hobbies and social life outside of cleaning. For Ann, portraying a self-sufficient woman was vital at a time when the industry often marginalized female characters. She famously preferred authenticity over the fake glamour of the industry, a stance she maintained despite constant outside pressure. Despite her requests to leave her photos natural, editors still airbrushed her, though she never stopped advocating for realism. She bonded with the child actors by teaching them traditional crafts like knitting during breaks in filming. These shared moments built lasting ties, even if she typically kept her private life separate from her work colleagues. However, her affection shone through when she threw a massive Halloween bash for everyone involved in the show. Off-screen, she wasn't actually Alice, but her maternal instincts were real, particularly toward Maureen McCormick, maintaining a lifelong bond. Naturally, even the closest TV families hit a few bumps. Things between her and Robert Reed were frequently strained, as he never masked his disdain for the show, feeling his dramatic talents were wasted on a sitcom. This irritation occasionally boiled over during filming, leading to heated debates over scripts or outright refusals to perform bits he deemed far-fetched. Davis struggled with his attitude, firmly believing they were all blessed to have the work, and she just couldn't wrap her head around his lack of gratitude. A favourite story of hers involved Reed fighting a slapstick gag with a cracked egg, claiming it was impossible, only to wipe out the second he attempted it. While it made for a great laugh later, it perfectly captured the friction on set. Nonetheless, Davis remained deeply thankful for the platform the series provided. Though she felt for him, later calling him a deeply unhappy soul, she wished he'd been more appreciative, knowing the spotlight is always fleeting. After 5 seasons, the show wrapped in 1974, because even though it's legendary now, the numbers were slipping, and ABC decided to pull the plug. The show's end left Davis devastated, as her co-workers had truly become her kin, especially her close friend Maureen McCormick. When that daily routine vanished overnight, it left a massive void she struggled to bridge as she navigated the post-sitcom landscape. She hit the road for various dinner theatre circuits, embracing different characters, yet she never quite found that same magic again. Her old pal Lloyd J. Schwartz even penned a custom stage play for her, a pioneer move for the dinner theatre scene, but even that failed to fill the gap. During this period, a spiritual transformation began when a fresh rector took over her local Hollywood parish, sparking a renewed religious interest. Driven by curiosity, she popped into one of his study groups, and that one choice flipped her entire world upside down. She later likened the experience to suddenly realizing she'd been stuck in a single room her whole life, only to find an entire universe waiting outside. Her stage career kept her constantly on the move, crisscrossing the country from one venue to the next. This nomadic lifestyle deepened her spirituality, as she sought out Episcopal churches in every town, finding a fulfillment that show business never could provide. Even with her newfound devotion, a piece of her still missed that old TV family, until 1974 brought a total shift. Shortly after the series concluded, while heading to Denver for a gig, someone suggested she connect with Bishop William Frey and his wife Barbara. Frey knew her face instantly from her days on the Bob Cummings show, and their casual meeting blossomed into a profound connection. Between shared dinners and him watching her perform, they forged a friendship that only deepened as the months passed. Davis kept in constant touch with the Freys throughout the following year, eventually spending her 1975 summer vacation with them. By the end of that year, she was back in Denver, staying at their communal religious home, and what started as a quick trip became a life-altering stay. Following a few months there, she shocked her inner circle by telling her agent she was taking a year off, but her next move was even bolder. She offloaded her Los Angeles property and moved in with the Freys for good, seemingly finding the genuine community she had craved. This left many wondering what she'd sacrificed for this peace, though she never truly abandoned her roots, always returning whenever the Bradys called. She rejoined the gang in 1976 for their variety hour, though the project nearly proceeded without her. Her commitment to her Denver community made coordinating the new show a logistical nightmare for the producers. Since she'd ditched Los Angeles to focus on volunteer work with her spiritual group, she wasn't exactly available for typical Hollywood hours. Initial plans didn't even include her, but they eventually signed her as a guest star, a title that didn't do justice to her actual role. She managed to appear in every single episode because the crew worked around her lifestyle, ensuring she wasn't tethered to the set constantly. Coming back to her television kin was heartwarming. Yet the revival wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. The showrunners added Rip Taylor as Alice's suitor, but his raunchy comedic style sat very poorly with her traditional beliefs. Her staunch religious views made his antics hard to stomach, so she kept him at arm's length whenever the cameras weren't rolling. The friction was obvious. Taylor felt slighted by her icy demeanor, and she found him crass, creating an unbridgeable divide that luckily ended quickly. The variety show flopped after 9 episodes, becoming a weird piece of television trivia, but the Brady legacy and Davis's involvement were far from over. She signed on for the wedding special, marking the first full cast reunion since the original run, and sadly, their final time altogether. This led to a brief spin-off where she was only supposed to cameo, but fan demand was so high that she became a series regular until it folded. Almost 15 years had passed since the original finale, when she donned her apron again for the iconic Christmas movie. Most of the crew returned, minus Susan Olsen, triggering a massive wave of nostalgia that convinced the network to launch a fresh series titled The Bradys. This new iteration took a darker, more realistic turn, finally letting her flex some dramatic muscles that the sitcom world had long ignored. Because the show tackled heavier themes, she was able to give her character a layer of sophistication and grit she hadn't touched before. It proved she was a powerhouse actress, not just a punchline, but unfortunately, the series got buried in a tough time slot. The show bit the dust in 4 weeks, burning through its final episodes, marking the last time she ever stood on set with her beloved television family. Even then, Alice lived on, as she spent the 1990s popping up in various cameos that paid homage to her legendary career. Snagging that part in Hi Honey, I'm Home was a breeze, yet her following gig almost fell through. Following that guest spot, Ambi Davis bid a final farewell to her legendary character, Alice Nelson. Even as the franchise expanded through various spin-offs, the 1995 feature film stood out as a major milestone. The production opted for fresh faces, yet the director still pitched a small part to Davis, who initially felt conflicted about joining. Spiritual values guided her life by then, making every career move a matter of deep personal conviction. In moments of professional doubt, she leaned on her dear friend Lloyd Schwartz for a second opinion. That specific movie's PG-13 rating triggered some red flags, as she feared it might clash with her moral compass. Ultimately, Schwartz's encouragement worked, leading her to play a truck driver called Schultzy, a perfect tribute to her past performances. Fame wasn't something she hungered for like most Hollywood stars. As Schwartz noted, she lacked that relentless ambition, likely because she was already fulfilled. Total satisfaction with her legacy probably fueled her slow exit from show business, though her love for the public never faded. People constantly approached her, sharing how she felt like a real family member from their youth, and she cherished every encounter. If a fan credited her for their upbringing, she'd jokingly remark on how great they turned out, proving her genuine kindness was her true trademark. The entire cast became icons, but Davis earned a unique level of affection, evidenced by the thunderous reception she received at the 2007 TV Land Awards. Her standing ovation drowned out all others, showing her deep cultural impact, even if the actress herself found the adulation baffling. According to Bishop William Frey, she stayed humble, never quite grasping how much joy she brought to the world, even while facing a cheering crowd. She stayed remarkably vibrant throughout her 80s, making the sudden turn of events a massive shock to everyone. Even at 88, she maintained her independence and daily habits, until an unforeseen tragedy struck without warning. Alarms went off when she missed a hair appointment, prompting Frey to hurry to her residence after the stylist called in a panic. Unfortunately, the situation was beyond help when he walked through the door, revealing a heartbreaking scene. A nasty tumble in the bathroom the previous evening had caused a severe head injury, and by the time help reached her, things had turned dire, transforming a routine morning into a tragic countdown to her final moments. Her inner circle hurried her to medical care, praying for a miracle and a quick bounce back. Optimism died fast when doctors realized the trauma was far more catastrophic than her healthy physique suggested. She remained unresponsive until she drew her last breath on June 1st, 2014, succumbing to a brain bleed shortly after the accident. Friends and family were blindsided, as she had been perfectly mobile and sharp right up until that moment. Without any red flags or symptoms, her rapid departure left the world reeling, trying to make sense of the sudden loss. Following her cremation, she was interred in Bern, Texas, at St. Helena's, though the outpouring of grief proved she would never be forgotten. Maureen McCormick, her longtime co-star, gave a tearful tribute, stating that Davis had fundamentally changed her for the better. Feeling lucky to have known her was a common theme that resonated well beyond her television family. Viewers who spent their childhoods with her mourned like they'd lost a real relative, showing a reach that spanned far beyond Hollywood. Her early work on The Bob Cummings Show reportedly sparked the inspiration for Marvel characters like Pepper Potts. This serves as a subtle testament to her enduring legacy, stretching from classic sitcoms to modern-day superhero blockbusters. Real staying power is rare, yet Davis achieved it, captivating everyone from baby boomers to kids watching reruns for the first time. When people laugh at Alice's jokes today, they aren't just revisiting a script, they are connecting with the soul of the woman herself. They are feeling the spirit of the artist behind the apron. But tell me, do you agree with her decision to ditch the limelight for a quieter life? Drop your opinions in the comments, and if this tale moved you, hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of Hollywood legends.